Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. My goodness, do I have a massive commander for you. One that can be brutal, one that can be effective, one that can be so powerful, one that your opponents will dread for the rest of their lives, ever seeing again the time that they played this. So with all that said, let's jump into it with Judith, Carnage Connoisseur, an absurdly spot-on name for this commander, a 3/4 human shaman for 5 mana in Rakdos. That's right, Judith is back with more mana to be had, but with that, an absurd effect. Here we go. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose one. That spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink. My goodness. And on top of that, the other choice is you can make a 2/2 red imp creature tokens with when this creature dies, 2 damage to each opponent. So that's nice, and we'll utilize that, but the first part is absurd. The first part is ridiculous. The first part is a thing of nightmares. Every single one of your damage-based spells, especially those ones that can, let's just say, for maybe a single mana, hit every single one of your opponent's creatures while leaving yours alone, gains you an absurd amount of life, and it just takes out all their creatures, essentially, unless they have, like, indestructible regeneration. Whatever it is, we're going to be able to take out all of our opponent's creatures again and again and again for so cheaply and at instant speed too, your opponents won't know what hit them. They especially won't know when you start making an imp army that then if they deal with it, then they get punished for that too. Or actually, you can just deal with it too. Yeah, an absurd amount of value to be had. This commander currently is $12.65. Now that price might change again during the time when this set's about to come out, essentially, if prices fluctuate. That being said, the rest of the deck is incredibly budget friendly. The total budget for the deck, according to Moxsteel, is $28.14. Keep in mind, that does include the cost of commander. It doesn't include the cost of shipping or basic lands, but you already have those. Regardless, every single other card in this deck outside the commander is 50 cents or less, and we can make an incredibly effective deck with that. So with all that said, let's jump into the tactics. Let's start things off with tactic number 1, which I'm calling Burnt Toast, because that's what your opponent's creatures are going to be when you cast a very simple spell. Blazing Volley, sorcery for a single red mana, 1 red, 1 damage each creature opponents control. Usually this would be the laughing stock of a game of Commander, unless you're playing against like your friend's token deck and they're each just 1/1s. But with this card in your Commander, this is 1 mana, wipe out your opponent's boards, and gain life equal to the amount of creatures they have. This can be like 1 mana, one-sided board wipe, gain 20 life. That is absurd. Speaking of which, Electrickery, a little bit different. Instant speed, 1 mana. We're not taking out every single creature, just 1 creature. Oh, unless we overload this for just another mana. So at instant speed, 2 mana, hit every single one of your opponent's creatures. Good luck. Tectonic Hazard, again, sorcery speed, 1 damage to each opponent. Just boop, well, boop to them too. And on top of that, of course, 1 damage to each of their creatures as well. Boiling Earth, 2 mana, 1 damage each creature opponents control, and you can also awaken it if you really want to. Go for it. If not, yeah, just another basically 2 mana board wipe, gain an absurd amount of life. Cast in the Fire. This one's a bit less, but a bit more flexible too. Choose 1 damage each of the 2 target creatures. Again, basically 2 mana, remove 2 creatures, and also will gain 2 life. Or exile target artifacts. If you need to get rid of an artifact, do so. Then we got Mizzium Mortars. 4 damage target creature you don't control. So, yeah, for commanders out there, this can still, take out some medium-sized creatures. Or, yeah, just overload this, take out all medium-sized creatures. Or for our commanders out there, again, hey, eliminate every single creature you don't control and gain an absurd amount of life. Again, 4 for each of your opponent's creatures. Next up, Scouring Sands, 1 of each opponent's creatures, and then also Scry 1. So you're just like, okay, yeah, just look at the top card of my library. Well, there's this burning sensation among all your opponent's creatures, and they're all gone. Goodbye. Just again, like little, just boop, damage, and they are gone, thanks to that Death Touch. Then there's Smash to Dust. Choose 1 destroy target artifact, destroy target creature defender, or, yeah, destroy all creatures, essentially, that your opponents control. 1 damage to every single one of those creatures. So again, flexible board wipe, essentially, for us. Barrage of Boulders, 1 damage each creature you control. If you control a creature with a creature with power 4 or greater, they can't block, which won't matter because they're all going to be gone anyways. Next up, Cosmotronic Wave, 4 mana, 1 damage each creature they control. Creatures they control can't block. Again, that blocking doesn't matter. What does matter, again, this is all one-sided. 1 damage to all their creatures, none to ours. Hazardous Blast, again, exact same thing, essentially. And yeah, you're going to start to see a pattern here. We've got a lot of ways just to affect our opponent's boards and not our own. Volcanic Vision may be the biggest of those, mana-wise. 7 mana, return instant sorcery card from your grave to your hand. It really doesn't matter how much it is when it comes to taking opponent's creatures because damage equal that card's mana value to each creature opponents control, exile it. And what does matter again is if, say, you get something back that's 4, 5, 6 mana, whatever it is, you're gaining that much life per creature that you were hitting again. So yeah, being able to just demolish their team is huge. That being said, let's move on to attack number 2 because you might think we're done with burninating, but we're not quite done just yet. Earthquake, sorcery for X and a red, X damage each creature flying in each player. Yeah, there's going to be some opportunities where like, oh, well, I've got a decent amount of imps in play and I'd like to take some players out, so let's just wipe the board and also wipe out my own creatures, so that's 2 damage each opponent at the same time. We've got ways to protect our board as well and our commander, so keep that in mind too. Next up, Starstorm, X damage each creature. So this can be a desperation board wipe if we need to, or yeah, cycle it away if you don't need it. Next up, Wail the Nim. This is hilarious. 1 damage each creature and each player. And if we entwine it, we regenerate each creature we control. So again, protect your team while also eliminating the competition. Next up, Chain Reaction. X damage each creature, X number of creatures on the battlefield. This might just take out our own team. And that's okay sometimes because you know what? Let's say there's 20 creatures on the battlefield. Let's just gain 40 life. Not 40, sorry. 400 life. There we go. 400 life gained from a 4 mana spell that wipes out every single creature on the board. Yeah, sign me up for that. And sign me up for Fiery Confluence. So choose 3, choose the same mode more than once if you want to. 1 damage each creature, you just need to do that once. 2 damage each opponent, destroy target artifacts. So again, a very flexible spell for us that can help us out in a lot of scenarios. Moving on though, tactic number 3, stick around because again, yeah, there's some times when we might take out our own creatures, but we got ways to get the important ones like, you know, our commander, supernatural stamina, basically a feign death type effect. Creature gets +2/+0. When it dies, bring it back, which can be huge. Of course, Undying Mouse, another one, basically exact same thing, but it comes back into play, they counter on it. Dark Privilege, +1/+1 to the enchanted creature. We can also sacrifice creatures to regenerate the enchanted creature, which plays really well again with those imps that we can create. Basically, we can create a fodder army essentially for ourselves that we can just keep sacrificing to ping our opponents and keep our commander alive. Fake Your Own Death, yet another feign death type effect that actually gives us a treasure as well. Return to action, fake death, feign death type of effect, but also gives a lifelink essentially and +1/+0. Then there's Blessing of Leeches. That lifelink might come in handy, which, I mean, we don't really need it too much because, again, we've got ways to gain like 400 life. Regardless, Blessing of Leeches, play anytime at instant speed, so again, flash it in. Beginning of upkeep, lose 1 life. Oh no, 1 life, what will we do? It's fine. Pay 0, regenerate enchanted creature, so basically, free regeneration for us. Dark Dabbling, another really good card for us. Regenerate target creature, draw a card. If we have Spell Mastery, which we will have to our instant sorceries, we regenerate each other creature we control, so again, a way to save our entire team. But now to attack number 4, Second Degree. Embermaw Hellion. Quite fun. 4/5 Hellion with Trample. It says if another red source you control deal damage to a opponent or a player, deals that much damage +1 instead. So extra life gain essentially from any of our, you know, just tiny little, hey, 1 damage essentially all your creatures. Let's double that up to 2 essentially, gaining twice as much life, which is lovely. And of course, on top of that, keep in mind, yeah, those red imps are going to come in handy as well. When they get taken out, again, hey, that is 3 damage, lightning bolt worth of damage to each of our opponent's faces. So we're also going to be running Jaya, Venerated Fire Mage, 5 starting loyalty, basically exact same thing. Red source deal damage, a permanent player deals 1 damage extra, essentially. So again, hey, imps, have fun. Also -2, 2 damage to any target, which essentially is a lightning bolt worth of damage. Moving on, though, let's talk about tactic number 5, Salt in the Wound, because, yeah, again, this deck is brutal. This commander demands carnage. Impact Tremors. Whenever a creature is battlefield under control, 1 damage each opponent. So again, those imps coming into play are already starting things off in a good foot, right? They're starting things off on the right foot, essentially, right? Hey, already dish out some damage even before I die. Next up, Hissing Iguana. Whenever the creature dies, 1 damage target player or planeswalker. Yeah, your opponents aren't going to last long at all. Again, let's say you wipe the board again, take out 20 creatures. That player, don't like you. 20 to your face. Thank you. Next up, Rise the Dreadmarn. Hey, when those creatures are taken out, for just a single mana, if we foretold this, make X to 2 black zombie, berserk creature, and X number of non-token creatures that died this turn. Just make a massive army out of absolutely nowhere. This pairs really well with Impact Tremors. Who knew? Also pairs with Witty Roastmaster. Basically, impact tremors. Another creature comes into play. 1 damage to each of your opponents. Yahenni. Oh my goodness. I love this card in this deck. 2/2 haste. Creature pro controls dies, get a counter on it. So again, this can become massive in just one mana spell, essentially. Again, take out 20 creatures. 20 counters on this. On top of that, yeah, even if we do cast one of those board wipes that might hit one of our own creatures as well, hey, you can sacrifice creature, get it indestructible, so it can be very hard to deal with. And again, sacrifice those imps willy-nilly. Do what you need to do. Take your opponents out too. Falkenrath Noble. Yet another way to take advantage of the massive amounts of creatures that are going to be hitting the graveyard. Whenever it or the creature dies, target player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life, gain even more life, drain an opponent. What's not to love about that? Gimli, counter of kills. 4/3 Trampler. Whenever creature pro controls dies, Gimli deals 1 damage to a creature controller. Again, more punishment to be had for their creatures getting taken out. We can also just generate an absurd amount of creatures when they do. Ogre Slumlord. Whenever their non-token creature dies, you may create a 1/1 Black Rat creature token. They also have Death Touch. And yeah, this also counts our opponent's creatures as well, of course. So again, just a 1 mana spell can not only gain us an absurd amount of life, wipe out our opponent's armies, but also make us a giant rat army as well with Death Touch. Raphael, Fiendish Savior. Other demons, devils, imps, and tieflings you control get +1 and have a lifelink. So again, our imps are going to be slightly larger, which is amazing. And yeah, the important part here, though, lifelink. So every single time one of those imps dies, that's 6 damage in total. Again, 2 to each opponent's faces, gain 6 life. So we're gaining even more life, which really plays really, really well in Defiant Bloodlord. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Again, we already talked about a way to just gain like 400 life out of nowhere. Yeah, drain an opponent with that. I mean, even just draining them for 20 or whatnot is going to take players out in no time. Lorcan Warlock Collector. Whenever a creature comes from the grave from anywhere, you may pay life equal to its mana value. Again, utilize that life that you are gaining. You're on a certain amount of life. If you do put on the battlefield under control, it's a Warlock. But Warlock would die exile instead. Yeah, being able to essentially say, hey, all those creatures I took out, they're basically all mine now. Whichever ones I want, they are mine. Speaking of mine, Overseer of the Damned, ETB, destroy a creature. And whenever an opponent's creature, non-token creature, and opponent controls is destroyed, well, we get a 2/2. So yeah, just destroy all your opponent's creatures again and again and again. Replace them with 2/2 zombies on your side of the field. And again, rub salt in that wound. Now, as good as all these cards are, there is one, in my opinion, that stands by the rest, and that is the golden pig of this deck. Tactic number 7, Mahadi Emporium Master. This card is crazy good with this kind of a deck. A 3/3 Cat Devil for 3 mana. Beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. Again, you've got a way to essentially eliminate every single one of your opponent's creatures for a single mana. You've got many ways to do that. All of a sudden now, again, assuming there's like 20 creatures, 10 creatures, whatever in the battlefield, you're paying 1 mana to generate an absurd amount of treasures to help you just get way ahead of your opponents. Again, a massive amount of temporary ramp to put you so far ahead they're never able to catch you. And also, if they do, they do it again. Do it again for 1 mana. Just use one of those treasures, take out all their creatures again. And yeah, the amount of value this can give you is absolutely absurd, easily making it, in my opinion, the golden pig. But now let's move on to tactic number 7, get there, because yeah, to get to all this value, we need to get some mana. And first up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble, of course. Pay 2 tap sacrifice, get a basic land to play tapped. Airflowing Chalice, a very flexible mana rock, 2 taps for 1, 4 taps for 2, etc, etc. Charcoal Diamond, and then also Fire Diamond, basically do the exact same thing. ETB, taps for 1 of our 2 colors. Mind Stone comes to play, untap, taps for 8 colors, pay 1 tap sacrifice, draw a card. Prismatic Lens can help us filter our mana if we need to, or again, just 2 mana, tap for 1. Rakdos Signet can filter our mana and tap for our guild's colors. Unstable Obelisk is a great removal on top of just being, you know what, okay, mana rock, when it comes to efficiency. Costs 3 taps for 1, but again, makes up for that in that it can take out absolutely anything. Pay 7 tap, destroy anything. Warden Power Stone also costs 3, enters battlefield, tap, can tap for 2, so again, very, very efficient. And then finally, Hedron Archive, pay 4, tap it for 2, pay 2 tap, sacrifice, draw 2 cards. So yeah, you can replace this if you need to. Moving on, though, let's talk about how to dig down into the cards that we need with tactic number 8, Fire It Up. Fateless Looting, 1 mana, draw 2, discard 2, can also flash it back if needed. So yeah, this can actually just be, hey, a way to activate our commander essentially twice, make some imps. Next up, Vampiric Rite, sacrifice those imps with this. Pay 1 a black, sacrifice creature, gain 1 life, draw a card. You can dig down your deck quite quickly with this. Village Rite, sacrifice one of those imps as well, draw 2 cards for a single mana. Culling Deus, tap, sacrifice those imps. You're seeing a little, pattern here. Get a charge counter on it, pay 1 and sacrifice, draw a card for each charge counter on it that way. Shadow of the Past, oh my goodness. This is basically a tutor generator for this deck. Again, with those like 1 mana, destroy all your opponent's creature spells. Hey, cool. Whenever a creature dies, scry 1. So you just get to dig down into your deck like 20 or so and be like, oh yeah, I like this card, put it on top. Awesome, thank you. Moving on, Sign in Blood. Target player draws 2 cards, loses 2 life. Electric Revelation. Again, yet another flashback card we can utilize to trigger our commander twice. As this cost cast spell, discard 8 card, draw 2 cards. Read the Bones. Scry 2, draw 2, lose 2. Very efficient, very effective. Dimir House Guard. A great tutor for us. Transmute for 3 mana. Go get any card out of our deck that costs 4, essentially. You can't really counter it, essentially. I mean, you can counter the ability, but very hard to actually counter that tutor, or get it in play, sacrifice a creature, regenerate it. So a repeatable sacrifice engine for us to utilize those imps to the fullest. Ignite the Future, exile top 3 cards your library, basically impulse draw 3. If you cast out of your graveyard, though, for that flashback for 8, cast those cards for free. Camber the Plunderer. Hey, whenever a creature opponent controls dies, we gain life, create blood token. So yeah, gain extra life with this place into those life gaining effects, which is really nice, but also, yeah, just make an absurd amount of blood tokens out of absolutely nowhere for some great card selection. Speaking of card selection, though, card advantage is what we want with this one. Well of Lost Dreams. When we are gaining that life, pay X, where X is equal to or less the amount of life that we gained. Draw that many cards. Yeah, again, 1 mana to destroy all your creatures. Oh, cool. I guess I just gained like 20 life. Okay, how much mana do I have? Draw that many. And then finally, Fast and Furious. Discard a card, draw 2, or Furious. 3 damage to each creature without flying. So again, a board wipe if we need it. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this one is. I mean, again, my opinion, pretty brutal, pretty effective, and pretty cool. So yeah, check out that deck list link in the description below. Comment below with your thoughts. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.